It's August, 6 months after the start of the announcement of the COVID pandemic. And as an elected member, it's been a really difficult time and confusing time to see how things have developed. And one of the aspects that is very difficult is COVID has become a very polarizing subject. There are people who are absolutely fearful of the pandemic, and there's others who are looking at this more in the natural cycle of viruses that we get every year. Here in Canada, in Ontario, we know the flu season, the respiratory virus season, starts every fall and is measured through to the following summer. We've done it like that for decades. We've understood that when people are indoors, when they're close together, the likelihood of transmission of viruses are amplified. It happens every year. It's happened since the beginning of time. One of the things that I've found confusing is people talking about a second wave of COVID. But these are not waves. This is a naturally occurring cycle of viruses that happen every year. And yes, it's August now. As we get into October, November, December, as the weather gets colder and more of us spend more time inside, we will see an uptake in cases of viruses. It happens every year. We ought not to be surprised that it's going to happen again this year. But where the public discussion has altered is as if we have lost sight of history, have lost sight of what we know to be true and what happens every year, and we have attached this alarmist label, the second wave, with this virus, and as a reason or a justification that we may have to lock down again. Listen, we will invariably, inevitably, have more cases of respiratory viruses this fall. It happens every year. But I do think it's time we start talking about this not just in the alarmist fashion, but in a fashion where we use our knowledge, use our critical thinking, and approach COVID in that rational way. Because as I've said and as I've shown on my previous videos and in my previous graphs, the actual number of deaths due to COVID are very similar in Canada this year than every other flu year. The number of hospitalizations have been very similar. And as you look around at the data and the evidence around the world, many other countries, most other countries, fall into that same category, that these are very similar results that have happened every year. So let's put away the alarmism for a few moments. Let's sit down and think about things. Let's understand that there is a flu season. It's measured every year from September to August. And it's cyclical. It comes and goes. This year, with so many people not working in office buildings, many people who will be permanently working from home, there'll probably be fewer. But that doesn't mean there won't be any. And I think we have to keep things in context and keep our understanding of this virus in context with what happens every year. If you think these policies that we're engaged with, the mandatory masking, the closure of many of our businesses, the limitations on our healthcare system, you can take part. Democracy requires you to take part, to express your views and let people know what you think, including elected members. Pick up the phone or write a letter to the Premier, to your elected members of Parliament, to your local town councils, and let's begin to have a thoughtful, reasonable approach and have our policies that are proportionate to the severity of the virus. Thank you.